During the 1966 World Cup, back when Sid was in his 30s, an Argentinian player got sent off by the German ref during a game against England. But because the two did not speak a common language, it took 9 minutes for the Argentinian to understand that he was removed from the game. You see, before 1966, there were no cards to indicate someone had committed a foul. Referees would just verbally tell players and use gestures, but these provide very little clarity to the spectators and the players. This very incident sparked the creation of yellow and red cards we know today. Since then, cards have become an essential method of communication for the refs, especially when you are in a game with various nationalities and backgrounds, such as the TML. You could be from Italy, Syria, Australia, Peru, Cape Verde, France, New Zealand, Spain, Argentina, Russia, Senegal, Sudan, Canada, US, Switzerland, Netherlands, Gambia, Candyland, Epstein's Island. Everyone knows that a yellow cautions the player, a red removes the player. Because cards are used when the rules are broken, people often use these stats to highlight how clean or dirty a team or player is. So which team is the most carded in the TML? Which team is the least? Where does your team rank among others? Join me in Thomas TML Talk and find out.
And again, first to it, look at him, he's got a man bun. Look at him. Yeah, nothing there, man. That's a woman's hairstyle, you mug.
A big shout out to our sponsor, ESR, for sponsoring the TML and the Footy Japan Cup. Let's quantify the cards by saying a yellow is a unit of 1 card, a red is a unit of 2 cards. The whole of Division 3 totaled 95 cards last season, 89 in Division 2, and in Division 1, 182. Last season, each division completed a different amount of games due to COVID. A more accurate figure would be to divide the total cards by the total games, in which we get this. Despite Div 2 and 3 producing similar stats, Div 1 almost doubles the other divisions. And the reason for this can be traced to this man right here. This diving pansy is single-handedly responsible for... So why the big disparity between these divisions? Let's consider some of the context behind the stats. Reason 1. Smart fouls, aka professional fouls. The ability to recognize situations where it would be beneficial to foul. In the following clip, you'll see my apprentice explain this.
Why did we lose this game? And our conclusion was only one. We are two good guys. The first action of the game, Lucas goes and Ruben Neves coming. First minute of the game, they make a fault to stop a transition. Last minute, then Donker, he come to the game and the guy, the ball doesn't go again. We lost the game because we couldn't make a foul to stop transitions. You need to be clever, you need to make the foul.
Mourinho claims that the opponent capitalized on fouling in crucial moments. Fouls are necessary, but it takes experience and intelligence to identify when. Naturally, the division with higher level players are more likely to spot key instances on when to foul, moments that a lower level player would not have fouled. Competitiveness. You need to be competitive to commit a smart foul. You can have all the experience and football IQ. If you aren't competitive, you probably won't care enough to do certain fouls. Someone playing for fun will have a hard time convincing himself to deliberately handball to prevent a goal-scoring opportunity. Because in their mind, preventing a goal isn't worth getting kicked out of the match and receiving a match ban. Likewise, a player playing pickup football isn't going to deliberately foul someone to prevent a lethal counterattack, no matter how much the situation calls for it. Being competitive also leads to players going in harder on their opponents. Heightened aggression is a byproduct of competitiveness. The more aggressive, the more willing players are to get into contact play. Lastly, being competitive might also lead you to having offensive outbursts towards other players and/or the referee. They can come in the form of disrespectful language or abusive gestures. Both can lead to more cards. Reason 3. Playstyle and fitness. I might be stating the obvious here, but you need to be in tackling distance to make a tackle. This player in red displays his fitness and gets himself within tackling range of the opponent. If he didn't have fitness, he wouldn't have caught up to his opponent. And when you can't get near an opponent, you miss out on the opportunity to tackle. Less tackles will inevitably lead to less cards. To tackle, you need to be near an opponent. To be near an opponent, you need to be fit. If you aren't near a player, it doesn't matter how willing you are to tackle, you literally don't even have the choice to foul. Unless... So it might not even be that Division 1 teams are more willing to tackle, it's just that the average D1 player is fitter than the average D3 player, therefore putting themselves in more situations where they can tackle. And probability-wise, you're bound to get more cards the more tackles you attempt. Reason 4. Disparity within the division. Division 1 does not have as big of a disparity between teams compared to Division 3. Last season, the top 5 teams in Division 3 had 15 or more goals in goal difference. The bottom 5 had more than negative 15 in goal difference. It's either double digit in the positive or double digit in the negative. Nothing in between. In Division 1, 5 teams have a single digit goal difference. Only the top 2 and bottom 2 teams have a ridiculous goal difference. This can indicate that there isn't an overwhelming skill gap between most of the teams. This results in closer games. Closer games will inevitably lead to more fouls. Had there been a big skill disparity between teams, more games would result in a one-side washing, and typically games de-escalate in intensity once the score gets too large. Because what's the point in either team getting a card when the score is 4-0 30 minutes in? Both sides know which team is going to win anyways. These 4 reasons don't paint the entire picture. Other factors like who the referee is, and even something like the pitch size can affect the likelihood of a card. However, what I am conveying here is that cards don't equal dirtiness, nor does lack of cards equal cleanness. Having said that, in the next episode of Tomo's TML Talk, let's hear what some of the players themselves thought of other teams, and who will win the crown of most carded team from last season. Which team in Division 1 do you think gets the most cards?
Give me yellow and red.
After Hibs then.
You think he'd come
can't
to
really
the
tell.
most- The last 2 years? No.
Maybe in the middle. No, honestly, the only person who gets yellows is Zach. So
Which team do you think gets the most cards? Spicy question.
Spicy question.
Okay.